It's January 22nd, 2025. Let's get started. The first thing I'm going to talk about today was like the concept of prized possessions. I think as you have certain things longer and longer, you get more attached to them. And obviously, there's this idea that things that, important people give you also become prized. So if your mother gave you a gift or if your girlfriend gave you a gift, you would probably remember it more fondly, especially if you're using it every day. But then there's those other innocuous items that you just grow to love just because you've used them so much. For me, an example is this brown leather belt that I bought from Costco. It's Kirkland brand. And also, like right now, I've been wearing the same Allbird white shoe for 3 years. Not every day, of course, but I've just had these pair of random white sneakers that I bought for $70 for 3 years, and they have their own distinctive hot sauce stain on the left shoe, and they're not torn, and I still use them regularly. Um, Functionally, right? Like neither of those possessions should mean anything. Um, they're just regular run of the mill mass produced possessions. But because I've been using them day in, day out, it's like I've grown really attached to them. And I think I genuinely would be sad the day that belt is no longer unusable or the day those shoes rip and I have to get rid of them. Um, and so, like, I was thinking through the dynamics of prized possession and as they relate to gift giving. There's other possessions that I have. There's a leather wallet that my girlfriend gave me, and there's a gold chain that I wear every day that my grandmother had made for me and my mom gave me. Um, and I think people that I love giving me these gifts also makes them prized. And it helps that those two items, like I use my wallet every day and I use my gold chain every day, those two items, it helps that I use them on the regular. And I'm reminded each time I look at them about how I got them. But what I'm trying to get at here is that yes, all of these are prized in my head, but it's still tough to assign a monetary value to them. Like, yeah, I love my Allbirds shoe, but how much is the amount of money that I'd be willing to pay in order to make sure nothing happens to them? And I really, really don't know. It's like I think maybe I'd pay like $250, but that doesn't make sense, right? Like based off how I've described my feelings for that possession and then the equivalent dollar value assigned, they seem out of sync. And that's still something I'm trying to reconcile. Um, we have concepts of possessions, we have concepts of prized possessions, but not all possessions are still, even then, made the same. It's like I would pay thousands of dollars for my gold chain, even if it wasn't worth as much because somebody gave it to me. Whereas for the shoes, I think it's just something that I've assigned value to myself and nobody's gifted me, so maybe I'm willing to pay less for it. This is a bunch of crackpot talking, but that was just in my head today. The second thing I want to talk about is the idea of like shared interest within relationships. And relationship is like an umbrella term here used to describe both like friendships and romantic relationships. And what I'm trying to get at is it essential to have shared interest in order to have successful relationships with people? And I think, as a cop out, this is just a question that varies from person to person. I'm sure there's some like extensive psychological research that might provide more of a definitive thing. But in my opinion, in my case, this isn't essential. And I sort of think it's because of how I'm like structured. I'm structured, at least my brain is structured to always seek excitement, I think. And if I'm talking to people who have the exact same interests as me, or, a very strong shared interest, it's like, yeah, I might get along with them for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 5 days, 5 weeks. But I think in the end, part of me will find them to be stale because they're not contributing anything new to my lived experience, I think. And something I'm thinking about is like, I like gambling, right? And so I'll go to a casino. But at a casino, outside of, everybody sharing the fact that they love gambling, at a casino you meet all sorts of different people. People from all walks of life, people with all sorts of money, income levels, jobs, drug addictions, non-drug addictions, wives, age. You basically capture all sorts of demographics except for women. Yeah, and you see some women then too. Right? But this is different from going to the office and meeting a bunch of software engineers. software engineers are likely to be software engineers because of various like shared factors such as like education, upbringing, right side versus left side brain, um, driven by ambition for monetary gain. So you're likely to share these qualities with a profession. But if you go and gamble, the only thing that brings people together to do that activity is a love of that activity, not necessarily any innate quality. And so, what I'm getting at here is I think if you are to share interest with people, ideally the interest would be something where a variety of different people are attracted to it. Otherwise, I think eventually it will get boring. Yeah. And the third thing I want to talk about was the North Face jackets and North Face's brand in general. Growing up, the classic heather gray North Face hoodie was something everybody wore to school. But even then, that shit was like $130, so my parents never got it for me. And, I always felt left out. And at the time, North Face was seen as like, this really expensive, cool brand. But as I've gotten older, I'm starting to see it as like this mass produced, cheap brand, which is crazy to think about because even if it's mass produced, the pricing of its merchandise is insane. It's still like $150 plus. And then that got me thinking about the entire winter gear market. And winter gear is just crazy. Like, there's no way an Arc'teryx or a Canada Goose especially, should be going for like $750. Like, who in their right mind is paying for this shit? And why are people consuming it? And on top of that, just with North Face specifically, it's like the brand hasn't changed at all. All their styles still look sort of monotone. They look the same, no innovation whatsoever from when I was a kid. But people still buy it. Someone explain the American consumer to me. I don't think I will ever understand it.